which is paid by Gambian taxpayers to regulate the supply of public utilities, has showed no interest in addressing Nawec's poor standard of service delivery, which continues to cost Gambians billions of dollars in loans and bills. PURA failed to ensure that Nawec consulted the Gambian people sufficiently on their extortionate tariff increase as required by Section 34, subsection 2B of the PURA Act 2001, mandating them to conduct research, including seeking the opinions of consumers of the service before approving any increases. Instead of focusing on improving the quality and standard of these basic services required for our survival, Nawec has decided to increase the prices of electricity 37% and water 20% in the country, making the Gambia the 5th most expensive country to purchase electricity in West Africa. Water and electricity are interdependent because taps go dry in the absence of electricity, which is required to pump water into our taps. Numerous communities suffer from lack of water supply, with many having to wake up at late hours in the morning to fetch water to be able to take a shower to go to work the next day. An investigation by the Center for Collaborative Investigative Journalism, which is titled The Gambia's Water Paradox, highlights how our country is blessed with plentiful water resources, but yet failing to provide safe water for its people. This highlights PURA lack of care, with over 70% of the Gambian population suffering from E. coli in household drinking water. That's what the investigation is saying. According to Nawec's electricity road map, which they published in November 2021, the average monthly electricity expenditure of households in rural areas was just over $1,150 and over $1,780 in urban areas. With Nawec's extortionate 37% tariff increase, the average monthly electricity expenditure of household on electricity will now exceed $1,570 in rural areas and $2,440 in urban areas. Looking at these cost increases for electricity alone, without considering the increase of water and transportation, highlights how cost of living is fast outpacing salaries of local income earners in the country. The Gambia government's basic salary pay scales for grades 1 to 5 is less than $3,000. Less than $3,000 from grade 1 to 5, basic salary. Putting all this into consideration and given the latest price increases, access to affordable public services will continue to become a problem. Although we welcome the government's efforts to connect some 46 villages tomorrow, our worry is how rural Gambians will be able to pay for these extortionate electricity prices. We feel that this highlights the importance of ensuring access to electricity at affordable prices. Providing electricity at such extortionate prices will significantly reduce the number of people who can pay for it. Given the above, we call on the Gambia government to return to the drawing board, to review its targets, to ensure electricity access to Gambians and water, electricity for both access to electricity and water for all Gambians by 2025. The government needs to look at that target. Why? We have done our research, According to media reports from the Point newspaper, Nawec has been struggling to pay arrears of almost $1 billion owed to Senelec back in April 2023. The Gambia government is also reportedly owing Nawec close to $750 million. This led to numerous blackouts during the Ramadan period. The millions of dollars that the government owes Nawec and Nawec's billions owed in loans that Gambian taxpayers continue to pay highlights the financial calamity Nawec finds itself in. And all of this, I tell you, is at the expense of the Gambian people. The signing of the agreement with Senelec has been a disaster from the beginning, with one of Nawec's own engineers blowing the whistle about how senior Nawec officials failed to ensure due diligence to secure the best prices for electricity for Gambians. Our group, those of us sat here, we will work with all Gambians of all spheres to peacefully demonstrate our dissatisfaction with Nawec over their latest tariff increases, which will surely compound the cost of other goods and services after the transportation price hike earlier in the year. We call on all security officers, starting with the Inspector General of Police, to ensure that he secures our right to peacefully demonstrate our concerns. Our movement will be conducting local sensitizations in the public to discuss the latest price hike. And we implore on Nawec to tell the Gambian people the real reasons why they have introduced this extortionate new tariff. Finally, even if a tariff was to be introduced, an increase of 37% for electricity and 20% for water is clearly unaffordable, leaving us with no option but to demand that Nawec returns to its previous tariff. Therefore, bring back cheaper tariffs, Nawec. Thank you very much.
Harabini nyantolon pour banku ding ye courant soto anin jio mialanko isa aftuaga sa aformes ela poso sa sinema ebe mem dogu kikan nyanda courant san nolale nyanda ka jio soto nole o mila nyantolti bara Gambia la masakunda ngajel ko nyanto nyen e mantra digan Gambia dingol la so ko min benta na min nara ji na wik la nyen tariff increment na mialanko ye courant la fa minke anin ji la fa minke ko be nga kalam tele e tari sebe mialanko tan sabani woro wala e wala la fa courant kan pasen muang pasen be muang e wala la fa jio kan gameno be struggle kan o passage o mi fa minu je be struggle kan ko jo yana ni fanal le kan ngajel ko mu ko de mialanko amanya na kala abe banko dingol tora kan ne e la nyanto pour ka courant di la nen jio di la en sera vi oke e be tora kan ka la faye nga body suro mialanko ya me pura multiple diamo kono termino kono nga halat je ko pura body de mialanko itole be mol ning Nawec tema itole be consumer wala ngo milka benefit service dina lo atandi ko nin Nawec nyanda kany increasement ke pura enta ha mek solale Nawec ye futa banko dingol bela ka tandi mol lako nin la fa ko wala ke ye mol e ka waga mi engagement public engagement barantol ya yele ko pura itel miana go tele la do ko mo dan mo leke jo na salary la banko dingol leke jo pour yo do ko ke haatare yo kele bare e ma ka miana ko entol nyafa because banko di bringa na sove nga yele ko mo jamal be gambe banko ka miana ko e mam pour la engagement kalamta so pour la engagement no pour de miana ko e ma ke nyanda ka akenya men wolon nga kalamta sa ni na rajibe courant la ko ay na rajibe gameno la sari anen ka min soto gambe dingol kam soro sari kono ani ne courant la fa ne courant ko la faji yael ko gaming abe gana difkol la bolunya aba gana tarendilale abolunya gana kolen lele banko dingol kam ala diamo kono foje ko gambe bu banko de miano ko ala en dema GO manke problème o jang duma be mi GOLT ba mi ana Nawec manke compagnie de mi alanko e so utilize no kaje ko jiko amanke problème o Gambia jambanja hani man ko jiko manke problème o Gambia bango kan so diamo kono ngaji ko Nawec ngari research minke ya tinila ko Gambia la mas Nawec ya tande molla ko wa Gambia la masakunda bundal ila julole be Nawec le be kamin jo ara ko 750 million dollars siva after ngaje ko nanko Nawec fanan ye julole soto Senelec la compagnie mine ga Senelec me anga dara fo billion killing me ko ni ya condonat for the month of April me anko Nawec ma setul no hansan sen dole ya ko Nawec la increase me min la kan hada badi Gambia dango kan wala ko ka tan tol foiro lel ko alla sarri ndi wala kam sura la do kurla al na nga la fa ñu kan ngata nga Senelec jo wano kan man Senelec jono munan ko because Nawec man electric provider no faye Senelec mu wandi country la compagnie let but de banko mi alanko e man courant fond dino la banko mo bela e de la courant ko da ya semende wala fa julo ka teni wol tema fa banko dingol kana ka sofola e la sarri ndingol e ota e ko winjo ngata ne nyango biringa na search fananke ya average Gambian ni aje grade 1 to grade 5 molla sarri kamin so don do be Gambian o janne ni aje ko 3000 ma fa dana ka 3000 lem so nying increment o be mo kolya la fala wo mol kam ko ni nara jibe fanan rural Gambia ne ajibe kurola ya hayma nga research ya hayma molumbe rural Gambia want wuli killing anin kemenin tallulu e ko la dundu kuroni ya jigu kono milbe jamma ko mo jamma fon wuli killing keme woro wula tansey e ko dundi la e ko boni la sari kono ka dundi kuran ko kono ban Nawec la nyi la faro min kata jen aba tan la go hanil be rural Gambia sang ni fa kuran soto wuli killing keme lulu tan woro wula e bo la fala je saji be o bonni mola sare kono bandolum be ko mo jang ne ajibe wuli fula keme nani anin tan nani e bo le fenkala ka bonni la sare kono sani min ka 3000 sare soto we wuli fula keme nani tan nani bondi je pour Nawec dem man ko because of Nawec la new tariff wala baluwo be len la nyaade le so ngajel ko mu Gambia be la concernati wala nan nada pour ka ku be nga jonyo ka nga ko nyi kere Gambia banko government ele nyantolem nga kalam dak fananko e ko bes village ol ko di la village ol la mentara fo 46 village tan nanen 6 village mi ango ko di village sol la o mo ko mi ango ku kendo lon Gambia dingol be ya upload mo be contanda ko bar san e ko di milla rural Gambia sa nyade ge mira won ko men di le ba sanno la nyaadi le natara mo mi anko ala sari man si ye ko la fa mari kan ye ko di o mari la sa nyande kam mi flo mira wo ko sanno la nyaadi le wala wo fanango ko de mi ango Nawec nyanda ka fenge so kan nga Gambia dingol be kumandi ka because ngaje ko Nawec la contract wala government Gambia government ye contract signing Senelec tema ndol yayal ko Nawec kamin fo mole banda wo manga kumode mimbe duma so nga Nawec kumandi nan pour na findi banku dingol le yata ndimo la ko mune fon yatna ila faka nyin courant la fa kandika e ka access mindi banda ndol wandol nyafa ye Nawec kuma koyo fo mole andung na dimension lo menti kaje ko courant nying ay jiduma fo Gambia ding e mu ko mun dogu ke yaade ke ko so courant na fano na tra fane do kenu la ka jini duma fo mo be handi numéro so courant sanno wala courant be nun damen ya murundi mole abeje sa o kan be banko dingol be kumandila ka bo police bundala kana gambe bare nyum banko be la kolin do be bara suole kono mo be kaspa hayde bu kasa ko mala kasa wala fa mala kasa nyin kaspa la fa courant ni jol la fa ay mun torol si molma ngajal business be la fa kan dafa wo njo sanka wo njo sami mbulu $10 saka wa fi ma $20 la because ne bilo la fa moye afana mbala business la fa la ni business la fa ta abina muruna banku dingol la kam back because banku dingol abina wala toral back so Chrome code me is connected to all businesses so ne Chrome la fa rek jio la fa rek fe mo be le la fa la gam banko kam mo bina toro bina mol kam wala dina ko nga mo be commandé mo be nanang police solo Gambia no amanke politique kuti amanke parti kuti amanke si kuti Gambia dingol mo be je ka courant la jo ni ko solve aman solve to le aman solve to le jonli sa solve Gambia bele so ko be findi la bantale peacefully Cairo kono kana ni ku yatandi Nawec la ni Gambia masakunda la bimbe kering o kan mbake la dana ko mo jambe ko la faka banko bele mobilize mo be finti o lola ngata sa ni police sol be engine men sotola katani la ko na nyanto lon prale pamedi mola na finde silo kan na banko be kumande ngata nga na nyanto fo mole so no fana sita e bayla ko nga Gambia mo be bless bu mo be suwo kono ite la cité feje suwo kono ni mo findita ya finde Gambia banko e ngata ngata nen nay lako enough is enough dafa ya sura Gambia ko dafa doy man ngol kay ko kanyandra sang bring back the keeper tariff o min bije ali amuru nam back ala barka back.
Usman Jallo, and I'm the president of the Consumer Protection Consortium. I'm sure some of us, for you, Consumer Protection Consortium. Consumer protection. I'm sure we all know what consumer protection is all about. This issue of Nawec is all about consumer protection. This is about rights. It's about human rights. Because if you are talking of electricity, water, and all, there are fundamental, basic human rights that should be provided. Okay? And the onus is on every government of the people to look at it and know that, it's a right of its citizenry to be provided with that. And key among the messages that I have heard here is about access and affordability.
Thank you.
Affordability. We are not saying let it be provided freely.
Thank you. Thank you.
But let it be affordable. And let also it be of quality. This is an issue. It's not about, yes, we are providing electricity, we are providing water, this does not need to be politicized. This is not about politics. This is not about politics. I'm sure most of you here are renowned activists. And the moment the general public see Flex Dan, see Killer AIDS, and some of these young guys, they say they are up again. They might have been insinuated, or, this is maybe an influence coming from the opposition. Let me make it clear that we are not here to sensationalize anything. It is just to be real and know that this is an issue which is affecting everybody in this country. Whether you are a minister, whether you are a permanent secretary, whether you are, member of, the civil service, or whether you are in the informal sector, it is affecting the business sector, it is affecting the tourism sector, it is affecting every aspect of our economy, socio-economic development. So this is a concern, and it should be a general concern for all Gambians. So I applaud Team BOPA for coming up. These are the sorts of associations and pressure groups that we are looking forward to seeing. Civil society associations should be very much organized. And as a consumer protection association, we call ourselves consortium. This is what we've been crying for, that we need associations, people to come together. And it's not only about being an activist and, advocating for some other issues which may not be related to, it could be climate change, it could be issues on water, it could be issues on the high price of basic essential commodities, it could be the issue about transport, the issue of transport and infrastructure in the Gambia here, where we are faced with, this is the reality. Whether you belong to this party or that party, the reality is that we are faced with several challenges, and some of the institutions that are mandated to take care of this, in this case it is PURA.
Thank you.
In this case we are talking about PURA. Now, okay, we'll give them the benefit of the doubt. We are not saying, well, for the Consumer Protection Consortium, I'm sure we will be engaging Team BOPA, and for us, we believe in dialogue.
Thank you.
And we feel the way this thing has been, cooked by Nawec and endorsed by PURA, we feel the necessary consultations of the relevant key stakeholders was not done properly. We'll agree with Pura that yes, we have called stakeholders. Yes, okay. The GCCPC, that is the Gambia Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, was at Pura. Some other consumer association was represented at Pura, but not the consortium for that matter, because we were taken by surprise. And the consortium supposedly should be the platform where the other consumer associations, it would be a common platform where all these other consumer associations would come, and then this is what it's like tango. It should be an apex association. So if you are reaching out, you don't look at, briefcase organizations, but you look at real grassroots national organizations or associations that are in this country and consult with them. This is what we are saying. So we will be, of course, we will be engaging or re-engaging Pura. We will be engaging the Gambia Competitions and Consumer Protection Commission, because that is our legal avenue. Yes. That is where we will, if we want to seek redress, that is where we will go. So it's not all about demonstrations. And, for us, we will say that would be a last resort. But alongside, whilst there is sensitization, and both here, and I'm glad you said even up country, yes. By that, we would be working closely with Team BOPA to come up with a formal complaint. A formal complaint. Because Team BOPA and all the journalists and all the police officers and all the business community are all consumers. So we will be coming together, come up with, identify all these issues, and come up with justifications why the tariff should come down. And then we would file that and engage Pura and all the other stakeholders and see whether negotiations, there is room for negotiations. In the event that that happens and we come down, it is just, inconceivable to increase tariffs, not 5%, not 10%, which are all negotiable, but 37% increment. And the multiplier effect, that what would happen. If electricity and water increase, everything increases. Everything increases. Everything, be it, the cost of the ice, cost of storage of meat, cost of transport, everything in this economy increases. The basic essential commodities that we need would increase. Is that what is ideal? Is that the way to go? Does that make economic sense? It doesn't make economic sense. It doesn't make even political sense. So here we are. We are going to rally together, and we are indeed very, very happy that we have Team BOPA in this, and we are calling on all other civil society associations to come on board. And we will engage Pura, Nawec, and the GCCPC, and from there, if depending on what comes up, then we are certain that, in fact, we will start from now working on filing a formal complaint to the GCCPC on this and bring out all justifications. Here we are, congratulations, and we also want to thank the media for really taking this up. This is everyone's fight, so we are looking forward to making sure that this is popularized and everyone in this country and outside know about what is happening and the plight of Gambians. Okay, we thank you very much, and I want to also, on behalf of the executive members of the consumer, that is the CPC we call it, the Consumer Protection Consortium and the Consumer Fraternity, we are in support and we are in this together, and we want to thank you very much. Okay? And forward ever, backward never. Thank you.
Yaga na fi si ay nguur yaga na fi si ay bés waaye mbiri kurang bi ni ak ndox buñ ko dooree di ko éteki it pour Gambian people bi yëpp ñu ngi ko dooree woon ci jamono Occupy Westfield 2017 it was te luñ doon xeex yëpp moom moo nekk képp koo xam ne nii dëkka nga Gambia nga am courant ak ndox mu mun laa fekka si fi nga dëkka so loolu suñ ko dooree 2017 ñëwaat ba si 2023 mu am ay 6 years plus su fekkee ne leena da nga koo xool si groupe bu fi toog nii benn woot doo ko mun a use passé yeneen yi moo nekk consistency lu ñu fi indi tey moom moo nekk li nga xam ne moom moo dal dëkk bi full Gambia mooy Nawec seen increase in tariff su gaay def nga xam ne courant bi jël nañ ko yokka si 37% ndox bi ñu jël ko yokka si 20%. te Gambians yi ñoom ñëpp suñu xoolee xam ne PURA moom moo amee wàlli boo xam ne nii moom moo war a saytu public utilities yi nga xam ne ñoom ñoo nekk si biir dëkk bi yëpp te ñun ak Gambians yu toog seen biir kër dañ dem ba gis ne PURA nuñ ko doxalee ak nu gaay demee nekkut dëgg ba pare nekkut yoon. Gambians yi door nañ di xam ne soo xoolee si dex bi PURA ñu ngi la doon wax ne lu gaay daan mun a consume si ndox mu ngi daan demee si $1,150 waaye 37% increment bii nii bu mu ñëwee from $1,150 dem na ba yokku to $1,570 ñi nga xam ne ñoom ñoo nekk Greater Banjul area muy urban areas yi lu ñu daan consume si ndox mu ngi daan demee si $1,780 waaye bu ñu ko demee ba xool fu mu nekk 37% increment bi soo ko demee ba xool ko dem na ba egga si $2,440 borom kër boo xam ne nii mu ngi nekk di liggéey si biir nguur gi nga xam ne pay scale nguur gi from grade 1 to grade 5 $3,000 la su fekkee ne yow courant kase yaa ngi ko war a mun a fay ndox kase yaa ngi ko mun a fay si $2,440 ñaata moo laa dese $560. These are things that are not realistic. su fekkee ne yii mu ngi continuer ñun gëm nañ ne corruption bu ñu xeex du fi jógee because of su fekkee ne ndox kase wala da nga ko war a mun a fay pour $2,440 naka ngaa fayee sa dunda te lu ëppa doole si Gambians yi mënuñoo am seen këri boppa ku si nekk di si luwaas nga ne $5,000 soo ko denca pour weer bu dee bu nekk da nga am pour denca $5,000 for 33 years pour nga am $2 million. kër bu baax mënut la amal $2 million in this country ndax nit mun na am $5,000 sa bu fekkante su fekkee ne yaa ngi jël ndox ba pare di ko fayee lii te Gambia soo dooree CRR dem ba URR ba si kaw yëpp ndox bu neex moom moo nekk si biir géej gi. Why do we need to have these water resources in this country and paying for these exorbitant prices for water? loolu dafa nekk loo xam ne nii kenn si ñun mënut koo understand. ñu ngi rafetlu ne government bi génn na si fan yu néew ne suba 46 villages wala 46 dëkka si biir dex bi ñëpp dinañ mun a am ndox ak courant waaye su fekkee ne ñi nga xam ne ñu ngi nekk si biir dëkk bi wala ñu nekk si biir dex bi su fekkee ne yow mënuloo am li nga dundee 37% increment bii nii suñ dooree naka la ñuy ñëpp di mun a fayee pour lii because dem nañ ba gis ne ndox ak courant dafa mujjee nekk mbir boo xam ne nii du nekkaat mbir yi baadoo la because ñun ñëpp fekkee woon nañ fi amoon na time boo xam ne nii nit ñi suñ toogaan seen biir kër yi di nga am ñoo xam ne dañoo eewu suba fay seen cash power dem liggéey duñ ko ñëwaat taalaat ba after timis si biir dëkk bi soo gisee ñun ñëpp ñuy génn because of lii dafa nekk loo xam ne nii dafa naxari Gambia bi yëpp te ñu jógee ko CPC luñ ko waxee moom moo nekk ne suñu gisee dañoo wax ne jogati nañ gars yi jogati nañ lu gars yi di wax because of am na ñoo xam ne dañ leen brand foo xam ne nii opposition bi ñoom ñoo leen éteki waaye lii moo nekkut mbiri parti lii nekkut mbiri hate ba pare lii nekkut mbiri affiliation nekk Banjul laa dëkka wala fële laa dëkka amut marché opposition amut marché ruling party courant bi amut tarifi opposition amut tarifi ruling party dafa fekk ne lii dafa nekk di dalandoor dëkk bi yëpp ba pare su dalee dëkk bi yëpp ndoor foog mu am ñeena ñoo xam ne nii dëkk bi yëpp duñ mën a génn ndoor foog mu am ñoo xam ne nii ñoom ñooy organise nit ñi pour liit leen si biir dialogue ba pare nit ñi jox leen seen kàddu tim gëm sa boppa foofu lam toolu fu mu nekk te gëm nañ ne dialogue am na gëm nañ ne dinañ wax IGP gëm nañ ne dinañ enter a dialogue through the CPC gëm nañ ne dinañ am a formal request buñ def because of comme nu mu ko waxee organisation yi nga xam ne ñoom ñoo ànda pura dem ak Nawec ñu ngi leen a ooyee comme briefcase organisations yi nga xam ne dañoo toog rek di dem di sign ay mbir yoo xam ne nii grassroots organisations yi nekkuñ di si bokka te ñun su fekkee ne ñun silent nañ si lii dañoo betray a whole nation and a cause su fekkee ne lii bàyyi nañ ko mu jàlla leneen daf see ñëw teguwaat the price hike on food items mu ngay xew am na leneen ak leneen mu ngay xew waaye su fekkee ne Nawec dafa ñëw yokka 37% increment si biir courant bii nii kuy jaay ice $10 daf koo mën a yokka ba $13 because of 36% noonu la demee soo lii mu ngi nekk di dem si dëkk bi ñun ñëpp ñu ngi nekk di xool lii ba pare luñ ko nekk di ko xoolee yëpp fekk ñun ñëpp ñu mun a jël step luñ mun a def jëlee step mooy nekk through sensitization luñ mun a jëlee step mooy nekk through dialogue waaye su fekkee ne sensitization woogut dialogue woogut nit ñu xamee woon rek la ñoo demee we will go to the streets su fekkee ne sensitization woogut su fekkee ne dialogue woogut we will go to the streets soo léegi ñun call nañ pour IGP pour ñu seet naka la ñoo waxee ak moom dinañ dem tamit seet nu ñoo waxee ak ñeneen because of lii yëpp soo ko gisee dañ gëm ne am na ñeneen ñoo xam ne ñoom ñoo téyee Nawec ak lu xeetoog moom ñoom ñoo nekk di def these shady deals behind these Gambians because soo xoolee Sénélec bi nga xam ne moom moo nekk Sénégal mënut a providal Sénégal électricité bu doy su demee ba war a mun a providal Nawec électricité because of am na li fa nekk loo xam ne nii nekkul Gambian interest ñun luñ gëm su fekkee ne Nawec dem na ba Sénélec $1 billion government of Gambia mu Nawec over $750 million let's do the math government of the Gambia moom moo ñi soo ñun lii nekk na loo xam ne nii bàyyi nañ ko xel ba pare dinañ def consultation dinañ waxtaan si biir radio shows dinañ waxtaan si biir through the print media social media fu nekk dinañ fa dem waxtaan ak Gambians yi waaye lii dina ute ak génn yu ñu daan génn su fekkee ne mujjee na faa egga because of lii naxaari na dëkk bi yëpp ndoor te ñun ñëpp gëm nañ ne si luñ nekk nii moom mooy lu dëggu te ñun ñëpp gëm nañ ne Gambia fu mu nekk luñ nekk di demee nii su fekkee ne bàyyi nañ yi dinañ teg yeneen ak yeneen si kaw nit ñi nit ñoo xam ne mënuñoo dunda ba pare nekk seen biir dëkka Gambia nekk si 5th country bi nga xam ne moom moo gën a seerle courant si biir Africa biir West Africa te Gambia soo ko xoolee ndox bu fi nekk rek mënuñoo dem turu ndox bi fi nekk rek nga xam ne from CRR ba URR soo ko compter ndox bu neex moom moo nekk si biir river Gambia bi mënuloo am river sa biir kër ba pare yow nga ne ndox a ngi nii sa biir kër ba pare ñu laa caaj ndox loo xam ne mënuñ koo caaj dëkk yoo xam ne it is landlocked countries these are not right te wax bi nekkul te dafa gudda te su fekkee ne gudda na tamit ngeen jégal ñu waaye ñun lii lañ jël ne dinañ enter through consultation with the Gambian people dinañ dem in a dialogue with the public authorities but at the end of the day su diir bu bañ a yàgga su fekkee ne ñoom mënuñoo resolve lii bàyyi gars yi dellu gannaaw si seen 37% increment bi ñun dinañ génn si biir dëkk bi ñu jaamaarloog ñoom jërë ngeen jëf.
It's going to be something else because the Gambia right now many things I mean things from transportation, food, electricity, water, everything is skyrocketing. So we need to take things according to the time that we have. And as we speak now, Nawec's issue is what is on the table. And we would like to take it from Nawec's point. Yes, electricity is an essential part of modern life. We have to agree that. You know, we have moved away from that traditional ways of living where you'll be using your candle whatsoever, where women will cook and eat, finish that same dish. But now we've moved into a generation where women will now cook, put it in the fridge whatsoever, and then use it maybe 3 or 4 days. So when things of those sorts are happening in this country, and Nawec is fully aware of that, I think they are not doing their homework right. And we need to tell them that you are not doing your homework right. Nawec's issue is now getting worse because it is creating tensions in the households. Right now, some men and their wives are not on good terms because of Nawec's increment. Yes, because if your wife is cooking and then storing the food for about 3 to 4 days so that you can be gradually warming the food for you, and you cannot afford that now, because when you were giving say 1,000 so for Nawec, right now you need to give away 2,000 or so for Nawec, and then your kids are going to school. there are lots of things that you have to do to upkeep your family. So Nawec should not be the only body that will stress you and then you bring down to your family whatsoever. So I think Nawec should also consider that part. And then food, welding, and other stuff. All these things that we do, especially buildings and life itself, have a connection with electricity now. If you want to build your house, you dearly need Nawec. That is, you dearly need electricity, because at the end of the day, you need welders to make you a window or a door whatsoever, so that you can cover up yourself. So Nawec need to also consider that weldermans are now price hiking their doors and their whatsoever, and then it is not a good thing for the citizens. The citizens are crying out loud for those kind of problems. Again, Nawec, I think Nawec is not properly taken seriously, because Nawec right now is, I am 1 year older than Nawec. Nawec is roughly 27 years old. A 27 years old institution that has failed under two democratic states, two democratic governments, is not something that we need to throw our weights behind. Nawec right now, Gambia, as we said, is the 5th most expensive, if you are to talk about West African electricity problem. Gambia is ranked 5th. Gambia is above only Guinea-Bissau, and we all know Guinea-Bissau of recent these political turmoils or mayhems that were happening there. There is no democracy at Guinea-Bissau. There is no proper democracy at Mali, and Gambia. Mali is on top of Gambia as well. And then you have Liberia and Cape Verde. These are the countries that Gambia is, saying that we are doing better than, in terms of electricity. And you cannot call yourself doing better when, those ones are, when every decade or so going through political, tensions that are, jeopardizing their democracy. And you have been observing democracy for at least since your inception. So 27 years old institution, we believe, should be doing great, should do better than this. If growth comes with responsibilities, so Nawec should know that the population of this country is growing. So whatsoever that they are doing, they need to, expand what they got to do to ensure that the population meet the requirements. Nawec has been failing this country for far too long now. Since its inception till date, this country has been, seeing blackouts. This country has been seeing, sometimes a whole week no light. So you cannot tell us that you are doing good when 27 years you cannot supply even a portion of a country with a sufficient, power supply. That is a huge failure. I think government need to recheck or reshuffle the administration of Nawec if they want to see the best out of Nawec, because Nawec can do better than this. Nawec can do better than this. And the former speakers here have already, deliberate a lot of things that are pertaining to the concerns of the citizens here, and I don't want to waste much of our time going over those things, because the issue of food stuff that are now skyrocketing because of Nawec increment, it is not under their control. They have to do it to survive. If you are selling things for $5 and now you have to go to $10 or so, you cannot stay at home because you need that money to upkeep your family. So you'll just go out there, whatsoever that you have from the people, you will keep it. But Nawec have to know that all those problems, lies on their heads. They need to go back to the drawing board and ensure that we have a country that we think is best for all of us. On that note, I thank you.
Moy gëna nek yoon bu gën parce que ñom yaga neen fi ñoñu fi jitu ñu ngi yaga ci struggle bi te ñu ngi continuer de and ak ñun kon sa téway bi ni even though dafa prompt, we highly appreciate it te yokk nga lu bari ci li nga xamantene moy sun spirit ak sun motivation as young people. The bigé tamit képp ku nga xamantene you've participated in this campaign. It's been less than 1 week, but people are taking ownership. People have opened up WhatsApp groups randomly to communicate the flyers and the messages. People are communicating on a local level. We highly appreciate everybody's participation. It's not just GOM sa bopa. GOM sa bopa is Gambia, and Gambia is everybody. Dama bëggoon a wax ne, this is something that, as an organization, it is our mandate to stand up and defend what is major concerns in the Gambia. We really don't have the capacity to do everything as an independent organization, but we try our best and we rely on our partners and people to guide us through this so that we can have something very successful. We are not here to be labeled as people who are coming to cause trouble. We are here as concerned citizens who are wanting to speak on behalf of the general Gambian population who are facing a situation bo xamantene ñepp la laal. Amul police officer, amut teacher amut journalist amut liggéeykat amut kuy jaay gerte saaf amut maire bu nekk ci marché bi dafa laal everybody nga xool the increase bu nga xamante ne moom la gaay yokka in the urban areas of $2,440 nga jël example from journalists who struggle and seen salary might be estimated around minimum $2,500 that's the average.
Yes, that's the average.
Accurate average is $2,500. Example from the journalist. We would spend $2,440, meaning ne koku $60 will be the remainder of his or her earnings. Te gis nga ñun gom sa bopa ñun amun pass pour jox len. Bu mu gëna metti. That's just the example. Nga xol teacher bi nga xamantene mu ngi ew depuis 8 o'clock in the morning di jangale from 8 up to 5, sometimes up to even 6. Koko would receive a base salary of $2,500. Mu dese $60. The average Gambian, buy liggéey, mu war a spend $240, $2,440 on electricity, $1,200 on transport to go to work back and forth. This is like $30 multiplied by 30, if you look. Feeding depends, what I joxe depends. Because everybody, as Gambians, Ben Carlin, the lay ñefe, why they make sure that we want to eat the best food for the family that we can afford. At least $150 depends. That's minimum salary explain. Lolu rek dem na $4,500. Sa personal, sa njegi credit, sa cash power, sa you sell your buga def as a personal human being. Lolu soko calculate $50 a day, lolu rek dem na more than $1,500. Nga bolé lolu dem na ba $9,660. Sa salary mu ngi nekk laka $3,500 just pour mu nice. You are in debt of $6,160 after. So you're not earning while you're gonna go down the drain. So you're gonna be in debt. Mota hit leb bi buri, mota hit abalanta bi buri, mota hit yalla sutura yaga si deka bi dal. Yalla sutura yaga. Mota hit ñun gom sa bopa, ñun buga, ñu set naka la ñoo amé campaign that can ease the burden so that these people can hear us out, understand ñun jamm mo ñu taxa jog, lu ñu taxa jog moy please ba ngeen déglu ni nga xamantene that's the concerns of the Gambian people parce que deka bi dafa metti. Nga wara yokk this tariff on top of the Gambian people da nga gëna metti lo deka bi. And daf lolu daf lay am ripple effect. Crime, burglary, robbery, drugs, it's a chain walk. And as concerned citizens, we want to see the advancement of the Gambia. We expect authorities to engage us in the dialogue that we are willing to have with them. Because of the Gambian people, then sona. We said it's about time that dafa doy. Yaga nañu wax dafa doy. Why this time we really mean it because of we cannot continue year after year like this. And in a new democracy, then again, what I remember, we were promised this from coalition B. It's in the manifesto that they will provide access to electricity and water to Gambians. That was a promise, a campaign promise. Today we are still in the same situation. Kon dafa doy. Te ñu ngeen ñaan ñëpp pour ngeen understand you. We come into your communities. We come into everywhere. We're going to come speak the language that you understand pour engage the Gambian people. Parce que ñun tamit gom sa bopp bëggu nit ñi bàyyee ñu affaire si. Ñun ne soxla nit ñi nekk suñu gannaaw. Pour tamit ñu mëna am doole bu soxla pour ñi tamit xam ne lii is not just a political thing or is an opposition thing. This is a concern of all Gambians. Parce que all Gambians pay cash power si la yàlla dimbale nga am mita sa kër. Kon maa ngi ñaax nit ñi suñ security sector bi tamit di leen ñaax yéen parce que dañu dee bëgg a jaxase all the time between ñun civil society or ñun gëm sa bopp we are social movement rather all the time te loolu leen bëgg mu dog fii. Police officer B is suffering from buying cash power. The average is $2,500 but $5,000 xanaa yàlla sutura yaaga rek. Understand nga war a fay so lii seen concern la so su dara xewee please da leen ñaan ngeen ànd ak ñun si xeex bii nii parce que lii su sootee police officer bi dafa noppaliku SAS guy bi dafa noppaliku paramilitary bi tamit dina xalaat am tuuti noppaleku boo xamante ne dina ko gënal kon bu leen ñu xoolee as enemies bu leen ñu xoolee as rebels bu leen ñu xoolee as troublemakers na ngeen ñu xoolee comme seen brothers and sisters ñoo xamante ne ñun ñoo leen a represent on yéen seen behalf parce que we always face the problem of security services di ñu oppress when we want to fight for li nga xamante ne mooy suñ constitutional rights please dañ leen ko ñaan di leen ko ñaanaat with this campaign ak any other civil campaign that we have may leen ñu suñ jàmm. The late IGP ndem si yàlla ji Mamoud Diop yàlla na ko yàlla yërëm bala moo gaañu waxoon na ne gëm sa boppa respect nañu because of suñ protest bi dafa doy nu ko waxee woon ak nu ko defee it was one of the most peaceful and organized ba police officers yi sax dañ leen jox ndox pour ñu naan parce que ñu ngi xam ne dëkk baa ngi tàng kon dama bëgg a tamit you the security specifically ngeen gis us from a different eye please parce que yéen da ngeen bokk si lii nii du toujours ngeen war a sànni teegaas wala déedéet waxtaan leen ak ñun sax ay rakal leen am nañ ay mbokk yoo xamante ne ay police leen ay cousins ay fathers ay uncles ay aunties kon please ngeen bàyyi xel loolu lii pour yéen la ñun mun nañoo toog suñu kër ku fi toog fii kenn ku nekk mun naa wax ne sant yàlla am na njëgi cash power ak lu métti métti am na fi ñoo xam ne sax am nañ sola kon su caa demee ba jeex su leen neexoon ñu ne ñoom duñ taxaw si xeex bii nii waaye soo gisee ñu koy def tamit because of daf leen itteel ba pare daf leen ñor so I'm pleading on the general Gambian population di waxal government bi tamit ne ñoom bu ñu xoolee ne ñun opposition leen ñun we are here we are the sixth arm of the government xam nga dañ lay wax ne da nga am xaw ma ñaata arms ñun we are the sixth arm ñun we are the sixth arm so ñun si government bi leen bokk kon bu leen ñu xoolee opposition di leen fàttaliku ne tey la waaye démba bu méttee woon gëm sa boppa ngeen yaakaaroon pour ñu leen a mobiliser ndaw yi pour advocate for change ba yàlla def change boobu noonu am te the same team gëm sa boppa boobu leen suñu neexoon ñu fight for positions wala nekk ay ambassador wala def leneen ak leneen waaye ñun fii la ñu yàlla teg kon jàppale la ñu suñu xeex bi ngeen bañ ñoo def ay radicals ay criminals ay doomi réew leen doomi réew yu jógee ko si waajur yu baax jógee ko si kër yu baax ba pare tamit nekk ñoo xamante ne lii moo ñu ñor incha allah man loolu dama bëgg pour mu leer ngeen baalal ma nag waaye as head of the organisation lii this is very very important ba pare tamit as usual suñu amee press conference sécurité yi dañ fi dee ñëw so am na ku fi nekk waaye ñu ngi koo bëggee parce que suñu broda la toujours understand nga dafa teew te ñu ngi ñaan yàlla lu mu fi munti jëlee na dem wax boosam yi ne ñii dee pare woon def terrorist attaque de ñii dee demoon di bom fende demoon dara lii la gaa yi bëgg a def lii ak lii la gaa yi bëgg a def dañ bëgg a engage waxtaan pour cash power bi wàññeeku pour yow suma boss ak man mi nga xamante ne maa ngi laa liggéeyal si salary bu tuuti bi.
Thank you.
So last but not least, one more thank you to the media. Please, all media that is here present today, we want to add you guys to the database moving forward. Parce que yéen a amee the eyes and the ears of the people. Kon, thank you so much. And thank you so much to John Charles Njai for supporting in one way or another. And we are calling on anybody who wants to support li nga xamante ne mooy initiative bii nii pour ngeen ñëw ngeen support you know because of at the end of the day lii dafa nekk loo xamante ne we doing it from the heart kenn joxu ñu dërëm kenn pusu ñu kenn tamit influence ñu so we ngi calling on support from the general masses pour ñu taxaw suñu gannaaw ñu ànd together rather to make sure that this fight is done dafa doy team gëm sa boppa jërë ngeen jëf yu bari thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Cam, Ali.
So as for the first question, actually the campaign starts now. Now, we are starting as our Papa said, you know, we will engage the relevant authorities as mentioned earlier, starting from now. And we promise to keep the media updated, you know, and posted with our developments as they happen live and direct.
Yeah. Just to supplement some responses. So we did go and meet up with Pura. We did have a conversation with Pura during the Ramadan period. If you can remember, that was when this tariff increase happened. And I think that has caught many Gambians by surprise because the increase occurred within the Ramadan period. So perhaps the government was very smart with its positioning of when they were going to do that. Pura did tell us that they have done some level of consultation, which my uncle was even alluding to, but not enough clearly, because many of us, as you can see, they did not even engage CPC. The Consumer Protection Consortium was not engaged, let alone us and the ordinary Gambians. So we are telling Pura that they have not done their job with regards to engaging Gambians sufficiently. That's the first question. With regards to the protest, we believe your rights are God-given, and nobody is going to even hand it over to you. we have to fight for our rights. We are putting the police on notice because of actually we the taxpayers, the Gambian taxpayers, are the ones who are paying for all of these security forces.
True.
And we've already appealed for them to understand what we are fighting for is for all of them. We anticipate that they may be reluctant, like they have, because of the track record. But one thing which we are going to do is we are not going to surrender our rights. We are not going to surrender our rights. That's the first thing. And secondly, we first want to engage in dialogue. So it's up to them.
Yeah.
If they engage us in dialogue and we feel that this is really moving in the right direction, it may not get to that. But we understand that this government, the message that they understand is protest. And if we have to, we will speak that language.
Thank you. And to add on to that, last but not least, like off of our experience as Team GOM BOPA, requesting for a permit is the process that we always abide by. But it does not stop us from doing what we have to do when we have to do it. Because it is enshrined in the Constitution that every citizen has the right to gather peacefully.
Peacefully.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I just want to also state here that with regards to the CPC, you know, sometimes it's not all about even, you can express yourself with protests through many other means other than going out in the streets.
Exactly.
And, you know, having, you know, problems with the security, supposedly if you are not given a permit. You see, there are several ways that you can protest. You can organize sit-down strikes, you can defiances in many ways. So these are things that for the young ones, I know, sometimes it can be very sensational. But you know, as long as we are working together, and we want to reassure you that we will not leave you behind, Team GOM BOPA, because you are fighting on our behalf as consumer protection association. This is about consumer interests and welfare. So we will be working hand in hand with you. And for us, you know, of course, we don't rule out anything at the end of the day. And we respect your position of even, you know, your right to protest and go out, demonstrations. But first of all, we said there will be dialogue.
Yes, exactly.
There will be dialogue. And if you open up to dialogue, certainly we are very optimistic that Pura and all the other stakeholders would listen and they would reason. And we are confident that we would negotiate and we would come to an agreement that is in the interest of consumers, which include both Nawec staff, even Nawec staff, and government, and whichever political party you belong to, or whatever sphere of life you come from, okay, or whatever institution you belong to. This would affect each and everyone as consumers. But we are not also ruling out litigation.
Thank you. That's another.
All right? Yes.
Legal.
In the event that, you know, sometimes you have, you know, discussions and negotiations, but if you don't arrive at an agreement, that is why we said we are going to lodge a formal complaint alongside this. And we can rely on the courts to seek redress and get this revised. So I'm saying it's not all about protests and demonstrations outside. All right? And we are in this together with the CPC. Right.
Yeah.
Unfair for those that do that. You know, shame on you for doing such. Unfortunately, that's why I mentioned earlier, you guys are part of this fight, and we cannot do this even without you. So us doing any engagement without interacting with you guys, to us, is a piece of the puzzle that is not complete. I believe that the media is a piece of this puzzle, just like civil society, just like the people on the grassroots, just like the people that we will be having dialogue with, just like CPC. That's how we have the media. And us not engaging the media, to us, that's not even good for our communication strategy as a social movement that relies on effective communication. So rest assured, no man is perfect, but I do have trust in our able media team, which consists of Mariama Bojang, Yusuf, and many young ones here, for them to execute that, and we will highlight that and take note to make sure that that will not happen like those that do that. Thank you. Yeah.